everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna play a Soul Eater Pokémon game, but we can only play around maybe 10 minutes or so, according to the developer. So sadly, we cannot do a full playthrough unless they let us after showing the video. But I'm not gonna. I don't know. I just want to show the game, so let's begin. Wake up. A lone figure stood in the entrance of the graveyard, his long black cloak blowing behind him in the force of the wind, laying out a small sigh to repress his disgust. He took a couple of steps forward. The dry ground crunched under his feet, dust clouds forming behind his trail. God, the tombstones over here are leaning to the right. Here we go again. The Reaper's brow twitched when his eyes cooked a tombstone to the side of him. It made him want to kneel down on the cold ground floor and forcefully strain it. Honestly, what kind of groundskeeper didn't take proper care of his graveyard? Even the ground was unevenly leveled. It took everything a kid to keep his head up and walk forward, going to his best to ignore the horrors around him. The laughter of Patty was the only thing that could be heard in the desolate place. The only reason he was in the disgusting place was because of a strong presence he was getting from here. A strong wavelength was coming from the place, and Kid predicted that it was a rampant contagion. It was the only solution he really had, considering where the source is. Now, no living person would want to reside in a place like this, after all. Ooh, looky over there! This cross is so shiny! Patty transforms out of her weapon form and runs towards the cross made out of metal. Wait a minute, Patty. You don't know what could happen. This place is really giving me the creeps. Patty, don't touch anything here. This is a resting place for the deceased, after all, even if this grave in particular is asymmetrical. Kid followed after the hyperactive girl, finding her child's actions helpful since the wavelength had felt closer than before. He approached the tombstone. He looked around to see if there was a kitchen in sight. When he found no monstrous beast in sight, he looked around the gravesite, trying to figure out where the energy was coming from. Patty, didn't we tell you not to touch that? Oh, it's growing! Oh, it's growing! Hearing Liz's distress, Kid turned over to find an older blonde freaking out. Patty was holding the cross, and from there now, the metal glistening in the moonlight. It made him carefully take the cross from Patty, despite her whining. He could feel the powerful wavelength residing in the necklace, and it made him wonder what could possibly be inside of it. Brushing at the edges carefully with his fingertips, his amber eyes widened when the cross left his hands and rose into the air. All three of them could only stare in awe as the glowing necklace wondering what was possibly going on. Get behind me, you two. When the light retracted, Kid blinked a few times and was able to focus on the sleeping figure that was forming right before his eyes. Liz stayed behind him, cowering in sight before her, and then out of terrified scream. The female loud whimper, wincing at the volume of Liz's screaming since it woke the girl up from her nap. She's less a soul? I thought Honorable Father said that these beings were rare in fighting. Why would one appear now, especially when Uzada is gone? The girl woke up at the three of them, with a confused stare, trying to strain out what they were talking about. Why am I in a place like this? This is the last thing I remember. The ghost reflected on for a while, trying to figure out what she was doing here. Why she really came to a conclusion. She felt more confused. Am I alive? There was a long silence between them. The girl wrapped her arms around herself as a sense of comfort. Where am I? There was a long silence between them. No one dared answer her question. You were killed a short while ago. Considering the strength of your soul, something like this is nearly impossible. She looked down at her ghostly pale body, examining the way her clothes emitted a pale gleam. The clothes she came out to come to the door for so long were a part of her afterlife. The sudden shock, dying made her eyes widen. A shrill cry tore from her throat as she finally came to examine herself, as if she was dead. Then, we're already dead. Then how am she still physically here? Do you remember what your name is? Your tombstone letters are illegible to read, sadly. My name is Wyan, of course. With her brow furrowed, she tried to reflect on her life before she died. She really didn't know what was worse, not remembering how she died or forgetting her past. My name, A pale jolt shot through her body as she doubled over from agony. A cry barely escaped her throat as her hands clenched her dark hair. Hey, kid, is she going to be alright? Kid looked up at the girl with a tense gaze, watching as she struggled to remember anything about herself. His honorable father once told him that spirits that continue to remain here fully remember their lives. Was this the same girl that he once knew? His eyes followed the jagged edges of the cross, the rest of his hand in his hand. Scarcely he turned the cross over to further inspect the engraving on it. With widened eyes, he read the name aloud. Wyan, that appears to be your name. I have reason to believe that that's your name because the cross is in your medium item. Kid didn't dare to mention that they all knew each other, unsure of what any unwanted stress might be due to her. Medium item? Here, exploration. No exploration needed. Regardless, we don't just leave you here. You need to return with us to DWMA. For some reason, she didn't seem to believe that everything would be alright. But did Kid really have the power to help her pass on? Kid met her gaze and gave her a nod to reassure her. The girl obviously seemed lost, and he would be a failure if his honored father if he didn't help her, especially since she was valuable by everyone at the academy. Valued at everyone in the academy. So we died and we were part of the academy. I can tell you have some doubts about my capabilities. My opera father has an entire collection of classified information, even if I don't know the full answers now. Right there, the key is our success. Don't doubt Kid too much. Even though he used to be a symmetrically freak, he's definitely developed over the year, right, Kid? Oh, he's still panicking about the tombstone. Liz gave Kid a reassuring pat on the left shoulder, a small grin of confidence in her face, but the second she pulled her hand away, Kid's eyes twitched at the thought of his right side being left untouched. Right, anywho, let's get going, shall we? Kid coughed into his fist and summoned Beelzebub with ease. The shadow stretched along the dry cemetery ground, and the girl couldn't help but shiver at the look of it. The skateboard, along with Kid's vibrant soul wavelength, had an obvious power that made her feel lightheaded. It's already bad enough that we're out here past 8 o'clock. We still have so much to do. As Kid continued with his quiet monologue, the mist that surrounded the graveyard suddenly concentrated, almost as if the environment was reacting to Kid. The girl couldn't help but clench her head, trying to ignore the sudden dizziness that overcame her. Kid, I don't think Wyan looks too good. She looks like she's about to. Without warning, the girl slumped forward and would have hit the ground if it wasn't for Kid catching her. Feeling a bit panicked, Kid hurriedly took the cross and held it up to the girl's forehead. A blinding light emitted from the two, and when it faded, the girl disappeared along with it. Where did the girl go? She's resting inside the necklace. We have to be careful since she's just awakened. Her soul is very weak. When we get back, I'll need to take her to Stain. At the mention of the mad scientist, Liz and Patty look over to each other before looking at the dim light glimmering the cross gave off around Kid's neck. Yeah. They transformed back in their weapon form, and with the twins scared in each hand, Kid took off in the direction of the academy. He really wanted to give his best effort to helping the feral girl. And that is gonna be the end of our playthrough. If you like my content, please consider subscribing and liking the video, and see you guys next time.